Hello everyone. My name is Al-Karti. Today I'm going to give you a short presentation on the topic of the Sustainable Development Agenda. So our topic is going to be about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and these goals has been adopted by the United Nations in 2015, and the international community hoping that this agenda or this 17 sustainable development goals will be achieved by 2030. So in this video presentation, I'm going to talk to you about the following topic, about the following point. The first one is going to be about the definition of the sustainable development. So what is sustainable development? The second one is going to be about the what are the 17 goals. I'm going to point it out, every single of them. The third one is going to be about the a question about the sustainable development goal. Is it legally binding? In other words, are the state around the world or the country have an legal obligation to pay and to consist with the sustainable development goals? We'll find out later on. The fourth one is going to be about how will the sustainable development goal be implemented, how they are going to apply this sustainable development goals. And the fifth one is going to be about how will the sustainable development goal be monitored, because it has to have a mechanism that follow the it has to have like a delegation in every state, or it has to have a mechanism in the United Nations, so that mechanism will follow up the sustainable development achievement or goals for each country as individuals, because this sustainable development can't be achieved by some countries. All the community, all the international community has to work together to achieve the 17 sustainable development goal. Okay, the sixth point is going to be about the how much will the implementation of this new sustainable development agenda cost. It is common sense, and it's initially this 17 sustainable development implementation will cost or will involve financial cost. Therefore, the international community, the countries, has to contribute together to be able to achieve these 17 sustainable development goals. Okay, the seventh point is going to be about how does the climate change related to the sustainable development. Of course, without overcoming the problem of climate change, we shouldn't talk about 17 sustainable development goals. So the first thing we have to do as the international community, we have to address the climate change problem, and it's real. The eighth point is going to be about how are the sustainable development goals are different from the MDG, which stand for a Millennium Development Goals. And the ninth point is going about take action. Everyone has responsibility as individuals, at work, at home, at everybody has a responsibility to take action to work together, not just the state or the international organization or something. No, that's involve everyone. It involves the government, involve the government agency, involve the non-organization society, for example, the civil organization society around the world, and is including as an individual. Everybody has to do their bit to be able to achieve the 17 sustainable development goals. The last point I'm going to talk to you about is the resource. I have some resource. I have some more information, further information for the people who interested to learn more about the topic that I'm going to talk to you about it. Okay. If this is the point that I'm going to talk to you about right now. So okay, let's start the first slide, which about the what is the sustainable development. As it's written here, the definition of the sustainable. What we mean by sustainable? We mean by able to continue over a period of time. That is the definition of the meaning of the word sustainable. So to be able to continue over a period of time, not just to start and stop now. We have to continue. That's mean sustainable. Sustainable development has been defined as development that meet the need of present without compromising the ability of further generation to meet their own needs. So the main goal is we have to work together to be able to provide the need for the present generation, and without compromising the coming generation their own need. So for a shared purpose, we have to work together, and we have to include everyone. Inclusion, the act of including everyone. Sustainable development call for the concreted, which means we have to do something together. Concreted effort toward building an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future for the people, and planet. So the 17 sustainable development is for the benefit of the earth, for the present generation and the future generation. So for sustainable development to be achieved, it is crucial, it's very important to harmonize, to come together three core elements. The first one is the economic growth. The second one is the social inclusion, or include everyone. And the third one is environment protection. This element, these three elements are interconnected. All are crucial for the well-being of individuals and society. So what we mean by interconnected, we mean with different parts sorry, are things connected or related to each other. So sustainable development, it has three elements to be able to achieve it. As I said, economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection, which mean we have to address the problem of a climate change. Okay, we're still talking about the what is the sustainable development. Give you more information about it. So I read dicting, or the get rid of the poverty. Of we have to end. We have to put end of the poverty and hunger, and the short of food, and people are dying because lack of food. And I was talking in the previous a video I have been talking. I was talking about the food shortage and clean water or fresh water and sanitation. So it's very important. So we have to come together to end of the poverty in all its form, all different type of poverty, and diminution in a indispensable requirement for sustainable development. Indispensables, which mean stable, so good, so important, and to this end, there must be promotion of sustainable, inclusive, inclusive. We include everyone, and equitable economic growth, creating greater opportunity for all. So there is no one we left behind. We're not going to leave anyone behind. Everyone has to contribute and everyone has to be involved. Equitable, I so include everyone as I said, and first, so so we need to end of the feminine of the inequalities, which mean the unfair situation. You know, we have to, and the rise of basic standard of living for fostering equitable, which means for caring is equitable social and sustainable management of natural resource and ecosystem, which mean all the living thing. So so the in term or to be able to achieve the 17 goal sustainable development, we have to work together as a team, because as I said, one state or some state cannot achieve this 17 goal sustainable development. So we have to work together and we have to look at all this type of aspect to be able to achieve our goals. Okay, right now, what are the sustainable development goal? Um, there are few of them. The like 17, as I said, 17 sustainable development goal. So I'm going to go through uh, for on each of them. I'm just going to tell you what are they, and after that we'll move forward. Okay, the first one is the goal number one is end, to put end of poverty in all its form everywhere. The second goal is end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and prompt sustainable agriculture. Third, goal number three, ensure healthy life and prompt well-being for all at all age. Goals number four, ensure inclusive and quality education for all and prompt lifelong learning. Goal number five, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal number six, ensure access to water and sanitation for all. As I mentioned earlier, I was talking about the how important for all people to have to access to clean water and sanitation service, because to be able to prevent disease which can cause, which the essential cause of children mortality in developed and developing country around the world. Okay, we continue about the goals. The goal number seven is ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Goal number eight, prompt inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. Goal number nine, build resilience infrastructure, prompt sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation, which means take care of the innovation. Goal number 10, reduce inequality with and among countries. Goal number 11, make city inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Goal number 12, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal number 13, take urgent action to combat or to defeat climate change and its impact. It has impact, and we can see it. It's very obvious. Goal number 14, conserve and sustainably use the ocean, sea, and marine resource. Goal number 15, sustainable manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, halt biodiversity loss. Goal number 16, prompt justice, peaceful, and inclusive societies. The last goal is about the goal about the partnership of sustainable development. Okay, let's move forward as we finish about the 17 sustainable development, and each of them it has a great details. So if somebody needs more information, has to make some research and gain more information about the 17 sustainable development goals. Okay, the question here is about are the sustainable development goals legally binding, which means are the state around the world has an obligation to follow and to implement the sustainable development goal? The question or the answer of this question is no. So the sustainable development goals are not legally binding. However, countries are expected to take ownership and establish a national framework for achieving the 17 goals. So every country or every state has to just work with the conscious and to implementation and succeeds will rely on country, because this sustainable it's relied to the state, to the country and the leaders. So as I said, all the international community has to work together to be able to achieve these 17 goals, sustainable development goals. Otherwise we will not we won't be able to achieve a perfect and great goals. So countries have the primary responsibility for follow-up and review at the national, regional, and global levels with regard to the progress made in implementing the goals and target over the next 15 years. So from 2015 up to 2013, this is 15 years period of time. So the international community need or want to see some achievement around the world. So there is an office, for example, in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, North Africa, and the Middle East, Asia. So there is some office, there is mechanism, there is some people there, they follow or they monitoring the the regional. There is regional office, they monitoring the achieve of the 17 goals. So action at the national levels, even there is some office or there is some people are responsible within the government responsible of the development goal. So it says here, action at the national level to monitor progress will require quality, accessible, and timely data collection and regional follow-up and review. So every year this delegation or this office in regional office and the office in the United Nations has to review how far we went, how far we achieved the 17 goals. Okay, okay, let's move forward. This slide talks about the how will the sustainable development goal be implemented. So as I said there was a meeting in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and that's meeting about action agenda to come out of the third international conference on financing for development provided concrete policy and action to support the implementation of the new agenda. So the implementation and success will rely on country, as I mentioned earlier, and this is really very crucial. That's why the sustainable development goals will be compass for allegiance, which means to put two or more things together, straight in a straight line. This would mean here by the countries, so or the state, nationally owned and country-led sustainable development strategy will require resource mobilization and financing strategies. As I said, this um, this project is quite huge project. It requires financial support. Therefore, the developed countries such as Europe and North America has to contribute generously financially to be able to achieve this project of the sustainable development goal. So all the stakeholder, government, civil society, the private sector, and others are expected to contribute to the realization of new agenda. As I said, it is not just for international organizations such as United Nations or regional organization or the state as individual or just the government. No, everyone, civil society, as I said, like civil organization, non-government organization for human rights, and non-government organization for every civil society has to contribute. People, just like I as individual, has to contribute. Everyone has to take action to be able to achieve the sustainable development goals. Okay, I sit here, this word here said, I revitalized, which means to give new life, energy, or success to something. Um, I sit here, global partnership and the goal level is needed to support national effort. This is a recognized in 2030 agenda. Multi multi-stakeholder partnership have been recognized as an important comment of a strategies that seek to mobilize all stakeholders around the new agenda. So everyone has to contribute in this sustainable development goals to be implemented and to be able to make some achievement. Okay, this slide is talk about the how will the sustainable development goal be monitored. As I said earlier, there is a mechanism. There is head mechanism in the United Nations, and there is a regional mechanism, and there is a state mechanism. So and everyone has to contribute, and everyone has to contribute. Even this civil society has to contribute, as even the people, the citizen as individual has to contribute to make some achievement. So at the global level, the 17 sustainable development goals and the 196 target of new agenda will be monitored and reviewed using a set of global indicator. Here we go. So there is indicator there, and there is some people there is mechanism monitoring the 17 sustainable development goal. The global indicator framework to be developed by the interagency and expert group on SDG indicator, and it will be agreed on the United Nations statisticals, which mean um, um, statistical, the people that someone or some people that who study or an expert in statistics. So government we will also develop their own national indicator, as I said earlier, to assist in monitoring progress made on the goals and target. Chief statisticians from member states are working on their identification of the target with the aim to have two indicators for each target. There will be approximately 300 indicators for all target, where the target covers cross-cutting issue. However, the number of indicators may be reduced. It depends. Okay, we're still talking about the how will the sustainable development goal be monitored. As I said, the follow-up and review process will be informed by the every progress report prepared by the secretary generals. So is the sort of a mechanism. It comes from the head top from the United Nations and to the regionals and non-government organization, and a citizen as individual has to contribute. Everybody has to contribute, and this sustainable development has to be reviewed every year. Okay. This slides talk about the how much will the implementation of the new sustainable development agenda cost. As I said, this project is quite big one, and it involves financial support. So the mean of implementation, including how to mobilize the financial resource to achieve the sustainable development agenda, are are essential feature of the new agenda. In order to achieve the sustainable development goals, substantial investment will be required in both developed and developing countries. The agenda will require the mobilization of significant resource in the trillion of dollars. But this resource already exists, which is great news. There are far more than enough saving in the world finance the new agenda. However, how to direct investment so that the support sustainable development will be crucial for achieving our goals. What it says here, it says the resource already there, but we need to to be able to direct this resource in the right direction. So the resource need to mobilize from region to region. For example, maybe we need more resource in Africa, we need some more resource in South America or Asia than the Europe and North America. So it depends the where we need the resource to mobilize from domestic to international, and from international to domestic sources. So as well as from the public and private sector. So official development assistance is still necessary to help the countries most in need, including the least developed countries, to achieve sustainable development. As I said earlier, as I mentioned, it depends where we need the resource, so we have to mobilize from place to other places. Okay. When we talk about the 17 goal of the sustainable development, we have to talk about the climate change. It's very crucial. It's very important. Because, as I said earlier, we have to address this problem because it will affect the achievement that made by the international community in terms of the 17 sustainable development goals. Climate change is real, and the global warming is in reason, is rising. Is we can see the famine, we can see the bushfire even in USA. There's many people being killed because of the unpredictable bushfire, and we can see the natural disasters such as flood and landslides. You know, just famine. Drought. Many people, the lack of water, lack of clean water, lack of sanitation, all this sort of thing as a consequence of the climate change. Climate change has a significant impact on a human life, or in on Earth as in general. We have to work with our science. We have to believe it. We have to address. We have to face the problem, and we have to address it. Climate change is already impacting public health, food and water security, migration, peace and security. Climate change left unchecked will will roll back the developments gain we have made over the last period of time, and will make future gain impossible. So we have to work together to address. I cannot stress this enough. We have to work together as the international community to address the problem of climate change. Investment in sustainable developments will help address climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse mean building made of glass for growing planet. Emission, the act of sending out gas, heat, light, and all this is not good for human being. So, as it says here, conversely, action, which mean from different and opposite way of looking at things. Action on climate change will drive sustainable development. Tackling climate change and fostering sustainable development are two mutually reinforcing sides of the same coin. Sustainable developments cannot be achieved without climate action. So many of the sustainable development goals are addressing the core drivers of climate change. So it's very important and very crucial to address the problem of climate change. All right, this is slide number 15. Is talk about the how are the sustainable development goals different from the MDG. MDG is a stand for a Millennium Development Goals. So the 17 sustainable development goals with the 169 target are broader in scope and go further than the MDG by addressing the root cause of the poverty and universal need for a development that work for all peoples. The goal cover the three dimensions of the sustainable development: economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. Um, Building on a success and momentum, which mean the word momentum, I wrote it down somewhere here, mean the force that keep an object moving or keep an event developing after it has started. So we have to keep going. The new global goals cover more ground with the ambition to addressing inequalities, economic growth, decent job, cities and human settlement, industrializations, ocean, ecosystem, energy, climate change, sustainable consumption and the production, peace and justice. Okay, this is the main difference between the Sustainable Development Goals and the Millennium Development Goals. Okay, this is slide number 16. How does the climate change related to sustainable development? The new goals universal and apply to all countries, whereas the MDG, which stands for Millennium Development Goals, were intended for action in developing countries. So it is a bit different. The first one is the new goals. The 17 goals is applied to all countries around the world, whereas the MDG was applying just only to developing country. So the very essential and very important feature of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal, is their strong focus on mean of the implementation. So we have to not just written in paper, we have to apply it to mobilization of a financial resource. Yep, to move the resource from place to place. It depends where we need it. Capacity building and technology, as well as the data and institution. So this is the big difference between them. Take action. As I said, everyone has to contribute, and everyone has to do his bit. So people even from your couch, thing you can do from your couch. I give one example here, and thing you can do at home, one example here, and thing you can do outside your house, one example here too, thing you can do at works. So there is list of each of them, like 10 or 20 for each of them, thing you can do at home, at work, from your couch, outside your house. But I have given you just some example. So if you need more resource, you can always research and get more information about it. Alright, we come to the end. This is the resource and reference. If you need, especially for the student and for people, the research around the world, especially in the developing country in Africa and in Asia and South America, if you need more information about this one, and I'm encouraging everyone to, especially the people that are specialized in the humanities and specialized on the global issues and international affairs, to gain more information, to taught yourself and to get the information, because this is the resource. Without resource we cannot do anything. So I do thank you so much for listening, and I'm hoping to see you sometime very soon. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now.